I wish to appeal to the FCT residents to assist us either by providing credible information that will defeat crime.
For weeks now, the social media has been awash with reports of people claiming their genitals had disappeared or were stolen for ritual purposes. Suspected organ snatchers have been mobbed and even killed by mobs as many continue to question reality of organ thefts. In Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, palpable fear has enveloped residents, especially in open public spaces, over allegations of organ theft. As we extract this strange ill-wind through the eyes of a police doctor in this episode of Call the Police, your weekly security check program, I am Aisha Oba Ali, and the program will continue shortly. Please stay tuned. Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is Call the Police live on NTA Channel 5, Abuja, the Unity Station. And before we start the discussion proper, let's have this background report put together by our correspondent, Abdullahi Ajia.
Claims of alleged mysterious disappearance of male organ in Abuja has stirred agitations in the minds of residents, with the notion of it being a spiritual phenomenon, which contradicts scientific standing.
I attribute this to a criminal gang. Of course, it is not true. It is a decoy, if a smoke screen, orchestrated by criminals in order to successfully attack their victims. And most times, when these parties are brought to the station, you realize that the manhood is still there. And the victims who were lynched have their phones, their monies, their ATM, and their monies withdrawn from the banks.
In the nation's capital, Abuja, however, the narrative revolving around this vile act presents that the perpetrators either speak or make physical contact with the intended victim. This has led to incidents of mob actions of innocent people being accused of the supposed crime.
In law, he that asserts must prove. So if you have accused her, you must bring proof. Thankfully, the police were the people who actually rescued her, because they came out with machetes, cutlass, and stick, and then saying they will put tire and killed her. That is attempt murder as far as I'm concerned. So we are establishing the facts, and then if we don't have where these people who accused her wrongly, they don't have any facts, and they have handled her like this, it means they have infringed her fundamental human right, and there is a defamation of character, and there is mischief, and also a whole lot of issues that will be raised against it. So we will interrogate this to the latter.
The level of gullibility among the populace is increasing public concerns, thereby threatening public peace and order. On a daily basis, the story of manhood disappearance has continued unabated, with unascertained sources spreading the rumors that have put fear and lack of trust in public fraternity, an exchange of pleasantries as one suspect the next person with or without any physical contact. Just recently, a woman was almost lynched at Phase 4 of Lugbe area of Abuja after she was falsely accused of stealing a man's organ, a situation that the FCT Public Complaints Commission waded in to nip in the bud this ugly but growing phenomenon.
My baby was crying. He now gave me 200 naira that I should take the 200 and buy biscuit for him. And I took the 200 and I left there. I was going around to look for the house that the woman asked me to come. The man now followed me, that asked me that what did I done to him, that his mouth is not working. I said, I don't know anything about that. My hand is clean, I don't know anything. He now said I'm lying.
Addressing the issue of false information about missing male organ, the security agencies pointed out that although several arrests have been made for on the alleged crime, appeals to residents to refrain from participating in raising false alarm and mob actions.
And equally, we ask our residents not to take laws in their hands. Please report this to the police so that discreet investigation will be conducted and justice, of course, will be served.
Now, this development has created a myth believing in the efficacy of charcoal as a neutralizer of the diabolic powers behind the disappearance of the male reproductive organ. This, many observe, has a rippling effect on the price of charcoal. With so much fear around in public space, many concerned stakeholders say a faster measure must be taken to restore public peace and confidence, especially in human daily interaction. In Abuja, Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
And our guest today to further discuss, call it mysterious or alleged missing genitals, is a medical officer in charge of FCT Medical in the police, masters, and he has a master's in public health and also the head of emergency response. He is Chief Superintendent of Police, Dr. Ifeanyi Olabanji. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Last 2 weeks, we looked at this issue, but maybe now from the eyes of a medical personnel. Now, let's begin this way. I am very sure you're listening attentively to that background report. Organ thefts, is it a myth or a reality? Let's begin that way.
Okay, so thank you very much for having me here. Firstly, it's physically and medically impossible for organ of any sort, not to talk of male or female, to go missing. It's a myth, it's a remnant of culture, remnants of tradition, and false belief that has been propagated over time. And that's why we are here, and this is why we find ourselves with false narrative, where anybody can wake up and say, my organ is missing. If you cast our minds back to years ago, at least in the 60s and the 70s, there was a concept of Obanje, a child that dies and comes back and dies and comes back. But with advancement in medical practice, we found out it was basically sickle cell. And since sickle cell has been identified, you hardly find anybody being accused of being an Obanje.
Oh, Abiku.
Yeah, Abiku, yeah. So it's basically remnants of passed on false narratives.
Okay, now from your findings, I know since this thing started in the FCT, you are in the middle of all this because some of these investigations are brought to you.
Yes.
But from your findings, what's really going on?
Well, the important thing to note is because it's sporadic and because people tend to believe, as we call ourselves, religious people, we still have the remnants of believing in that culture. So everybody tends to believe in stories that are passed on to them. People wake up today now and say, I was walking by, a man said hi to me, and my external genitalia has disappeared. My external this has disappeared. Because of the nature of this particular syndrome, it happens sporadically. And when it comes, it revolves and revolves until it fades away, and then maybe find another place to, come up again.
Yeah, I know because of how important this topic is, we will be opening our telephone lines quite early so that our viewers will be able to phone in and ask you a few questions, make comments and observation. But now the question I want to ask is, immediately such reports happen or such incident happened, the next thing is jungle justice, mob action and all that. Yeah. So what is the reaction of the police concerning this? And how many people have you been able to save?
Okay, so I'll talk from two sides. I'll talk like a medical practitioner, and I'll also talk like a policeman. Mob action is a very wrong thing to do. Unfortunately, the people, the society usually leaves the accused to prove innocence. So I can wake up and then, as I'm walking by, I say, this man stole mine, whatever, and they start to give mob action. The police has done a lot of sensitization, and this is also a part of sensitization, to try to tell people that there are some things that are impossible. If a man says his organ or a woman says her organ is missing, the best thing to do is to take them to the police, to the division or the nearest police facility there, and then also take the person for medical examination. And oftentimes you would find out that the organ is there. It's just a psychological or, a belief or anxiety that the person has held on to and, Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think some of our viewers are beginning to phone in to make that. But let me ask this question maybe before some calls begin to come in. I've heard of mostly the male
Yeah.
gender complaining. Do we have that complaint too from the women, from the female gender? Do we have those kind of complaints too?
Oh, yes, funny enough, as I was driving down here, I saw on social media a girl that said breast was disappeared yesterday. And it was interesting to know that nobody asked her to present a picture of herself. Okay. Let them see how the size of what is now missing.
Before, yeah.
And I wasn't able to really conclude watching it, but there are cases of women also saying it. It's not even a Nigerian thing alone. It happens all around. There are tribes that use iron to hold their genitalia so that it doesn't shrink. It's a cultural belief. So women sometimes, men sometimes, because mental illness or psychiatric disorders or psychological deficits are not peculiar to a sex. So if the same deficits that is making a man say his organ is missing can also happen to a woman.
Okay. Now, many have blamed this trend to this internet fraud, the Yahoo boys and all that. So what's your take on that?
Well, it still goes back to, like I said, past beliefs. I'm very much of the opinion that among the 50 richest Nigerians, there is none of them that can come out and say he did charm to have the money. I don't think there's...
They worked hard for their money.
Yeah, I don't think there's a charm that makes you have money, or be spiritual, something will come and drop funds for you at night. But like I said, there's passed on cultural beliefs that, maybe the Yorubas or this one have this concept of there are things you can do to have extra wealth way back. And then these things are now coming back because a man who sits in his comfort of his house and is trying to defraud people will look for any way to make his money. So if they tell him to go and bring elephant head, believing that will work for him. But with good education, we'll be able to convince members of the society.
I think we have a caller on the line. Hello? Yes, this is Call the Police live on NTA. Hello? Yes. What's your name and where are you calling from? How old are you? He sounds like a kid.
Yeah, sounds like a child. Well, it's interesting that a child is interested in the discussion.
That's why I even want to find out how old the child is. Okay, maybe he would call back. Hopefully. But now, let me ask you, you're here today wearing two caps as a medical personnel and also a police officer.
Yeah.
Now, from all investigations, when they present these cases and at the end of the day, nothing really happened. Yeah. How do these people feel? The accusers, how do they feel? But before you answer that, let's pick this call. Hello, good morning. This is Call the Police live on NTA Channel 5. What's the name of the caller and where you're calling from? Hello? Okay, you can go ahead, doctor.
Okay, so the thing is, we don't end it there. When we find out after checking that the genitalia is there, we sit them down give a bit of counseling. And we also now refer them to the police counseling unit to further explain to them so that it doesn't happen again. And that they can also be the preacher of the gospel that no organ is ever going to go missing.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. This is Call the Police live on NTA Channel 5 Abuja, your Unity station.
Okay, I'm Abdul from Guagualada.
Oh, Abdul, thanks for calling. Can you go ahead?
Yes, I just want to welcome the officer there who is analyzing this issue.
Thank you.
Issue of missing organs. Do you know that this issue almost caused me a problem between me and my wife when I was trying to explain to her that no, it's not possible. How? And I to prove to her that most people that claim that they later end up discovering that it is not true. You see, like it is said, it is just a myth, and maybe due to some cultural belief. Otherwise, I think ordinarily one should know that this thing is not possible. But most people that claim it later again, they will say it has come back. So the whole thing looks psychological, maybe mindset. Some people just feel maybe this is what I had is happening. If you see somebody very close to him, maybe touching him with his body, they will say something has happened to him. It's rather unfortunate.
Okay.
I think we should continue to pray that God to keep us away from all these devilish things.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abdul. Thank you for calling. Now, I think the police has to do more of sensitization, actually. And while we were talking, you made mention that it comes periodically. Because for years, we didn't hear about this. And all of a sudden, we're just hearing of mysterious missing organs. But I think, let's pick this call before we continue. We lost that. Okay, so I think it just resurfaced or reappeared again. So, hello? Hello? This is Called the Police live on NTA Channel 5 Abuja. But before you continue, please turn down the volume of your TV set.
Okay, it's sporadic in nature. What I mean by that is when it happens in Abuja, like now, you might not hear about it in Abuja for a while. And next place it happens, maybe Enugu, because somebody has started a trend there. And as humans, people tend to follow trends of things that they can't explain on the physical. So, yeah.
Let's quickly answer this call. Hello, good morning. Hello?
So people, once there's a story, if somebody starts the trend and says my organ is missing, what happens is people tend to now match any unhealthy feeling they're feeling to that same phenomenon.
Yes. Okay. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Called the Police. May we know your name and your location?
My name is Sabi Omar.
Okay, Sabi Omar, where are you calling from? Okay, so please go ahead. So I hope we don't really have network challenge here because it seems the calls will come in, but we can't get through to the callers. Now, in the handling of these cases, how do you ascertain claims? But before then, let's get to hear from this caller. Hello? Good morning. Where are you calling from and your name? Emmanuel, where are you calling from? Wuse? Lugbe. Good, Emmanuel. How old are you? 14, Emmanuel. Are you watching your TV right now?
Yes.
Okay, now what do you have to say? Do you have any question for the police officer?
Oh,
We missed him. From the voice, you get to know that this is
the youngster.
Is the youngster, yes. So like we said, how do you ascertain claims?
Well, if people present for such things from the divisions or wherever they present to, when they come to the hospital, if simple examination of that thing would a simple examination of it by telling the person, let us see what is missing. I'll give you a funny case that happened. By the time they brought the now suspect, the man who accused people, when they brought him to the hospital for care, he said as he was about to enter the hospital, one breeze blew into his body, the thing returned.
Imagine.
And they had beat someone up because of him. So I saw him, I told him, okay, this is what's going to happen, and then referred him to, a psychologist.
Okay, now if found true, what steps do you take? Because I know most of the cases you've seen, none has been true.
No.
So, okay, now that question is not even,
Yes.
we shouldn't come up.
Yes.
But how did you compensate or console or comfort the accused?
Well, usually the accused are happy that they have not been killed, because if 20 people descend on someone, the person is happy to just be alive and please just prove my innocence. So the idea of proving the innocence gives them some form of comfort. And bodily injuries, they tend to now take care of themselves and happy to return home alive, because people have been killed by, accusers falsely and all of that. Yes, ma'am.
Are there punishments now for those who accuse people wrongly?
Oh, yes.
Have you come up with sort of punishment for those who accuse? Because perhaps some people might have been killed in the process. So if peradventure some were not killed, but for those who accuse and their claims are wrong, are there punishments?
Wait, to say, always the claims are always wrong. And then the police, I'm sure that FCT command has multiple prosecutions against false accusers, that people who have accused people falsely for that are being dealt with. The law, Nigeria does not need new laws to handle it. There are laws that handle false accusation, defamation of character, and a couple of others, even the bodily injury and the mob action. There are specific areas of the law that takes care of that. So the prosecutors, once they are done in the hospital, ascertain that the organ is not missing, next thing that happens is they go into prosecution.
Now, what is your security advice for FCT residents, specifically on this topic, on this issue? What advice will you give? Because if we had one of the callers said, even he was arguing with his wife, it nearly caused him problem to convince her that it was a problem. So what security advice will you give to FCT residents concerning this particular issue?
Okay, my advice to one and all is first, avoid unnecessary gathering. Some criminals use it to gather people so they can pilfer, pickpockets, steal things, damage properties and material. If there is a crowd gathering, please, and you have no business with the crowd, and you shouldn't have business with the crowd, step away and follow your normal daily business. And for those people who are accused, we pray that they find reasonable people around them who can say, let's go to the police. And if you find anybody accusing anybody, don't be a judge. Don't play God. Drag them to the police station and let the police handle it. Okay. And then bring them to the hospital too. I'm sure the police will bring them to the hospital, do our bit, and everybody is happy. Avoid killing people unnecessarily. Avoid mob action. There is people have mental issues that they are dealing with. We should be careful how we manage humans. Thank you.
I really hope our viewers are watching and they have listened to you. We want to sincerely thank you, Dr. Ifayashi Olabanji.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the program. I hope you oblige us when next week.
Oh, yes, I will. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, it's on that note we conclude this week's episode of Call the Police. But do remember, as always, collective support to security agencies with credible and timely intelligence information, especially with the mysterious and alleged missing organs now that we have, will go a long way in helping in ensuring the safety of lives and property. Remain yours, Aisha Obali. See you again next week, same time, same station. Bye for now.